couple of heavyweights coming out next. Brett Harake surprised everybody in this tournament by beating up Sid Falanico, and Don Longmore, again, a surprise. A couple guys were surprised to be in the finals, and they're here. They're here at the big house doing their thing.
Hey, Don Longmore is one of these guys that's been with us for a while, and he fought week after week after week. He proved it, he earned it, he's here to win the championship,
All
Mike.
right, well, let's get this thing going on. Heavyweight no holds barred. Check it out.
Johnny, you've really got to be comfortable with yourself wearing a pink shirt to the fights.
A pink shirt to the fights, Mike, and did you see that I had my own microphone? I got my own microphone.
Wow, how did that happen?
I don't know.
Really
I got
sure.
a promotion, I think, Mike.
Look at this guy. I must have been turning my back. Look at this guy here, though. Don Longmore, 6'2", 220 pounds. This guy, you know, he's struggled early, but he's just really come on in the last little bit. He's a tough kid, but you can't get a whole lot of emotion out of him. Any of those guys.
I know the whole Ivan Taylor crew, but I tell you, I'm pulling for him, Mike. I hope that Harake doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but I'm pulling for Don Longmore, Mike, because he's the classic farm boy. He's
Well, how do you not pull for the guy? He really has demonstrated that he really wants to win. He's come in here and really faced some tough challenges. I think his first fight was against Mafu Fosta, and Mafu was undefeated at the time, and you know, I mean, so he's definitely paid his dues here. But the Harake guys are another group of guys, as we mentioned in the open here. They've really paid their dues and come a long ways. Brett Harake, 5'11", 250 pounds, got a little bit of weight advantage.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of weight advantage, Mike, and we've seen this kid. He hits like a train. You know, every time he gets in here, he pummels people till they submit or he knocks them out.
Well, ask Sid Falanico about that, boy, because he did just shocked me, at least. I know how tough Sid Falanico is because I've seen him in the gym training, but this Harake kid came out and surprised him and cracked him upside the head several times. But now he's given up a little bit of a height advantage here to Don Longmore.
Well, every time Don Longmore steps in, Mike, I hate to say it, but he is the underdog. People always think he's going to get beat because early on in his career, like you said, against Mafu and some of these guys, he didn't come out away with a loss. But what you got to love about him is he continues to come back. It doesn't matter if he gets beat. He's going to come back the next week. He's going to call you for fights. He's going to set it up.
He does. He's breaking the cowboy code with that tight shirt, though. I'm telling you, I'm not sure that Garth Brooks would approve.
I don't know if he would either, Mike, but you saw him come in with his John Deere tractor stuff. And
that's how he made up for it a little bit there.
He's got one of the coolest nicknames in the tournament, just Shortless.
It's because his name is Longmore.
Longmore, Shortless.
Some people don't get it.
I get it.
Only I got it.
Yeah, because you're the one that made it up.
Well, you know, right here, he's not short-less here. He's got definitely the reach advantage. He's using it, throwing a couple of nice jabs, and a couple of them have landed kind of stiffly. And, you know, we talk a little bit about how jabs in NHB can hurt you. You know, in boxing or kickboxing, they're usually used to set up a bigger punch. But with those smaller gloves, those things, when they crack you in the head, they hurt.
Like, one thing I want to just talk about a little bit, too, is those gloves aren't meant to protect the face of your opponent. They're just meant to protect your knuckles.
Exactly. That's why we call it NHB and mixed martial arts and whatever else you want to call it. It's a cage fight. These guys are getting after it here, and you know, some good action when they were standing outside. But when they get inside here, Harake kind of wisely wants to hold that Don Longmore close.
Yeah, well, Don's smart by just pushing away from him, stepping back out. But you know, one thing that I talked about with Don Longmore before was they said his wrestling's getting better too, Mike. He's practicing down on the farm, down over there in Draper. He's been hitting hard.
Sheep, or
yeah,
what's
well,
he
I don't know.
There?
Wrestling, probably the Taylors and sheep. Yeah, sure.
Nice takedown there by Don Longmore. It was a nice little sweep. You know, when they were standing on their feet, Don Longmore's not the prettiest fighter you're ever going to see, but most big guys aren't. You know, you watch Tim Sylvia, and he's doesn't throw the prettiest kicks in the world, but when they hit you, they hurt you.
Yeah, they hurt you. And right there, Don Longmore's in the position he needs to be in. And look, it hits him, does exactly what he should do when he rolls over, looking for the choke right here, Mike.
Looking for the choke, maybe want to sink his hooks in to secure his position a little bit. There he goes. You know, it seems to me at least that Don Longmore's at least watching some tapes or something somewhere where he's learning the dynamics of this fight game, and he's just getting better at it.
Well, he's got 55 seconds left, Mike, and you know, if one guy can last through this, I think it just might be Brett Harake. If Longmore doesn't get the choke but just continues to strike him, I think this kid, he's got a tough chin and a thick head.
Yeah, definitely so. You got to watch yourself and make sure you don't get too high here, Don Longmore, because you get bucked off with that slickery shirt, and you might slide over into the cage.
All the way across the ring into the...
Oh, it looks like we got a tap here, Johnny. We're not going to see the second round, and Don Longmore did do it.
He did it, man.
And how good does that have to feel? This is a kid we've never seen a single emotion out of. He's congratulating the doctor even over there.
Everybody. He's just such a loving guy. He's just a great guy. I'm glad to see him come out of there with the victory.
That was great. Oh, absolutely. You see in your Crush Combat Camp, brought to you by Quality and Hotels on Redwood Road in North Temple, where I'm telling you what, Don Longmore, it's long overdue, and he's finally an Ultimate Combat champion. Congratulations.
Oh, short less. I know the whole Ivan Taylor, everyone's pumped, your whole crew, your wife, everybody. They came out to support you, Don, and you did it. Congratulations, my man.
Man, you know, I can't say enough about this kid, you know, but we're going to see these Harake kids again. I guarantee you. Those guys are a couple knuckleheads, and they just love to get in and slug out. Great job, Don Longmore.
This post-fight interview sponsored by American Bush, Utah's only 18 and over gentlemen's club, located at 2630 South 300 West.
Brett, man, you coming here against a tough kid, Don Longmore. You've been knocking out the competition. Come over to this guy, get you to the ground and beat you. How do you feel about the fight?
It was a good fight. No, I was planning on a good fight, and he gave me one.
And that's all you wanted. You told me that before. You said, all I want's a good fight. You got a good fight. Don Longmore's a tough kid. Brett Harake, what are you going to do, man? You going to come back, or are you hanging up the gloves, brother?
I'll be back.
He'll be back? What about your brothers? Your brother going to be back?
Yep, big brother's going to be back for the revenge.
He's going to be back for revenge. Oh, you heard it right there. Brett Harake, tonight, you were good, but just not good enough. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thanks.
This post-fight interview brought to you by theoinkshop.com.
Adult novelties.
Don Longmore, you're the champion, brother.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Feels good, baby.
Hey, you know what? If you don't know the Don Longmore story, we're over here just kind of reminiscing a little bit. He went from, do I even belong in this show, to the champion. He is the heavyweight champion of the state of Utah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's all right here, man. Don Longmore didn't quit, kept coming back, and again, I can't say enough about you, brother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Old Don Longmore is going to mosey on home with his hardware tonight, Johnny.
Hey, finally, Don Longmore has been around, stood the test of time. He deserves that trophy, and I hope the hell he keeps coming back and fighting some more.
I'll tell you what, again, there's a guy that embodies what this show's all about. You want to become a fighter, there's got to be a pathway to get there. We never really had that in Utah before,
yeah, we do.
And now we do. This guy is a great training ground, and look what was the end result for him. Congratulations to him.
Don Longmore, way to go, buddy. Congratulations, you're the new champ.
All right, this is the Ultimate Combat Experience, and we got more of it. Stick around. The Utah State Fair is right around the corner. The final day of the State Fair, September 18th. The Ultimate Combat Experience will be doing their thing in the main arena over there. Hey, tickets are only $2 on top of your price of admission. You definitely want to come check it out. The Ultimate Combat Experience, September 18th at the Utah State Fair.
All right, Harold, I'm going to start the questions off with you. Same thing, man. Tell the people at home, what have you done to prepare yourself for the fight in the Delta Center?
Well, everybody, as you've seen, my skills are getting better. Striking, grappling, it doesn't really matter. Now, I'm a little more confident because it's all about Jim Jones. You know, it's, my stamina is step it up a notch. I just want to thanks to Mark Twy. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Tell the people at home, Harold, what can we expect out of you in tomorrow's competition?
Tomorrow, I don't know. I got a whole 9 minutes to work on it. You know, I don't underestimate anybody's training. I'm sure he's training hard, but I got all 9 minutes. I'm patient, and it doesn't really matter. You know, only time will tell.
And why don't you tell the people at home and in the crowd, why is Harold Lucambio going to walk away the victor tomorrow?
Well, to be honest with you, man, I've been training really hard for this. I'm gonna bring it all, and like I always do, I train hard, smarter. So that's just gonna end up either standing up, submission. I'm gonna actually let you lead the way, man.
All right. Harold said he's gonna let you lead the way, Dominique. Let me tell you, tell the people at home and in the crowd tonight, what have you done to prepare yourself for tomorrow's competition?
I've been working a lot on my ground game. It was a weakness when I started. I think I was a little nervous about it, but now it's just one of my strengths.
Okay. Tell the people at home, what can we expect out of Dominique the Red Dragon tomorrow? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna show the people at the Delta Center?
I think tomorrow I'm just going to bring it. You know, that's all we can do is let it all hang out. We got 9 minutes. Hopefully it'll go all 9, and we'll see who's standing at the end.
Dominique always went for, you know, you classy guy. Tell the people, why are you going to walk away the victor? Why are you going to walk away the winner in this competition?
Win or lose, it's going to be a battle. Harold, I think this one's going my way.
All right, right there. Shake hands. Best luck to these competitors tomorrow. I can't wait to see this fight. Nice job, guys.
This weight class, Johnny Ritchie, has so much parity in it. One guy might beat it one guy one week and then come back and lose to the very same guy the next week, and we've seen that happen before. Harold Lucambio he lost to Dennis DeGloria and came back and defeated him. Now he's going to fight a guy that he's beaten before.
That's right. He's coming in to fight here Dominic Ruiz, and Dominic Ruiz has actually been beaten by Harold pretty decisively, Mike. He actually got beat pretty good, and he said, hey, I went back to the drawing board. I saw that I had to get better on the ground because that's where Harold's good at. I know I'm going to see this kid in the finals, and I'm going to refine those skills.
That's great. I think, that's what this show's all about. These guys are getting better at their craft as a result of what goes on in the ring, and this kid is just a nice guy. 5'11", 175 pounds, trains in the Shaolin arts, and goes by the nickname, Johnny, of the Red Dragon.
The Red Dragon. Very respectful kid, Mike. He's always just been in it for the love of the sport, the art of it. He gets a kick out of this. He thinks whether he's watching it on TV or competing, it's a good thing. And I'm just glad to see a kid like this in here, Mike, bridging that gap.
Well, and both these guys are super nice guys, and almost to a fault here, Harold Lucambio is telling his opponent that I'm going to let you dictate what we do in this fight, which is very gracious.
yeah, very gracious. And I don't know if that might be a mistake, Mike, because I think one thing about Dominic is he is pretty slick. He's pretty crafty. He's got some things that you might not typically see in a mixed martial arts fight.
Well, come out with a touch of the gloves here, and guys are filling each other out just a little bit. Dominic Ruiz pawing with the jab there, trying to gauge some distance, and with his height advantage, with his reach advantage, that's what he needs to do, is throw those punches and kicks from the outside there, but looks as though they engaged here, and this is where Harold Lucambio wants to be.
And that's exactly right. You saw the big sweep. Mike takes Dominic right to his back, then gets right into full mount position, just textbook. He landed inside mount, steps right up.
And got reversed. We saw that in the last fight as well here, and a lot of this is so much strategy that, Dominic Ruiz's advantage should be on his feet. He shouldn't want to engage here, even though he feels like he's improved his ground game. Why try to compete with a guy at his strength?
Exactly. If I was going to ask you, Mike, right there, where Dominic's setting his guard, is it a smart move? I mean, we've seen it 100 times to smash Lucambio against the cage and not let him get that separation to get an arm bar or a triangle choke.
That's what makes this cage change the dynamic of the fights here, but it looks like that's not going to happen. It looks like Harold Lucambio sneaking in a triangle choke here and sliding that up there. He's going to reach up and slide his foot down in the crook of his knee in a moment here, I'm sure. But yeah, Johnny, I think these guys need to start learning how to use the cage to their advantage. That triangle choke wasn't on all the way, but it was on enough that you can see right there when Dominic stands up, his head's purple, so the blood was getting cut off. And Harold Lucambio, kind of a repeat of what happened last time. Very decisive victory.
Well, I'm not sure if it was a very good idea for Dominic to even get that close to him. I think he should have stayed back, like you said, kept the distance just like that, kept him back, but then he engages and it's over from there pretty much,
You
Mike.
see here in the Crush Combat Cam, brought to you by the Salt City Jail. That just happened, but this ring, let's not forget that this ring is built for grapplers. It's small, It's only 18 feet. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You're going to have to engage eventually unless you have really good footwork. But you see Harold, the constrictor Lucambio, he declared this cage his house, and once again he proved that it was.
Beat some of the toughest guys, Mike, to get here. He gets to take away the cup, and congratulations to Harold.
This post-fight interview sponsored by our friends at Mountain High Motorsports.
All right, guys, let's give a round of applause for Dominic Ruiz, the Red Dragon, for stepping in here and fighting so hard. Dominic, you coming here against an opponent that you fought once before. What was your strategy going into this, and what was the turnaround? What happened?
Don't let him armbar me, and he didn't.
You don't let him armbar you, and he didn't, but he got to the triangle choke, and you wisely tapped out, which is a great move. What can we expect out of the Red Dragon in the future, man? Are you going to keep coming back and fighting for us?
I got to do this. There's always one guy that has your number. I mean, Pernell Whitaker, Ray Jones Jr. I've never seen anybody not lose, so it just goes with the sport.
Absolutely, it goes with the sport. Some of the toughest guys in this thing have all had a loss. Tonight you were good, but just not good enough. Thanks so much, Dominic.
Thanks, brother.
This post-fight interview sponsored by Beehive Bail Bonds, because sometimes bad things happen to good people.
Harold, whose house is it?
This is my house.
Harold has proclaimed these 8 walls his house, and you know what? He ain't giving it up too easy either.
Oh, no, I've been training too hard for this.
Harold, I gotta tell you something that was a little bit disturbing. I watched you walking into the ring, you dropped your mouthpiece on the floor and you picked it up and just shoved it right back in your mouth.
Well, that was the only one I got, sorry.
That's sick, Harold, that's sick. But you know what? That which does not kill us makes us stronger, right?
That's right. I'll go brush my teeth right now.
All right, there you go, man. Triangle choke, congratulations, Harold. Once again, you showed another angle of your fighting game, and congratulations.
Thank you. I want to say thanks.
No, that's too late.
Too late. I just want to say, sorry, Mike. I just want to say thanks to Will Bernales, my corner, my dad, and also Jim Jones for this preparation for this fight. I really felt it. Thank you, Mark Twight, if you're in the house. Thanks.
And he wants to say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend right here.
Good job. They call him the constrictor because he's got a little snake, but he thought, it was so little he didn't want to bring it out in this big venue.
Hey, in this big venue, and it is a big venue, but he put on a clinic, Mike, put him in the triangle choke, tapped him. Dominic Ruiz wisely tapped, and I guarantee that won't be the last time we see Dominic.
He's still got a little snake. We got more of the Ultimate Combat. Stick around.
This training tip of the week brought to you by our good friends at Market Street Grill.
Hi, my name is Pedro Sauer, and this is the tip of the week with my friend here, Lonnie Foster. All right, this next move right now, you're gonna try to understand how to defend punch on the guard here. Keep in mind that as long as I keep my leg crossed, I have to always be inside over here to lift, to bring him over here to try to grab and hold on and try to protect from this way, like that. But if I wanna get away from this position here, I wanna try to move this, I wanna stay away, bring my knees over here, and I want to lift my knee up over there. That's what I want to do. So right now he cannot find my face no more. He cannot try to punch me no more over here. And I can find space here to move. I always protect, defend. If you can have a chance to, maybe a good way to sweep someone over here. So the same thing, if you end up over here, as long as your legs cross, the punch always going to come close to your face because you have your leg crossed, so the guy's close to you. What you want to do, you want to stay inside. I always play inside over here. If you can, one knee, two knees, and just use your knees right in the guy's chest over there, where you don't let the guy come close to you. That's what you're looking for. Now, you got plenty of space here to move, to push the guy away, try to stand up in base, or if you have to get up over here, get up like this. Now he's gonna try to grab your leg over there. You can have an arm bar right here. Hi, that's the tip of the week. So if you'd like to see more details about those moves, our location is 9460 South, 560 West. You can find at www.pedrosauer.com.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Combat Experience. Johnny Ritchie at SummerSlam 3, our third version of SummerSlam, our third year in here. And what a better way to finish up this first version of SummerSlam 3 than get these two guys, Big J, Justin Wright, and Garrett, the Obliviator Barlow, in here with no love lost. And who's right in the middle of them? Dave Selyesterk.
Well, that guy's in here.
Somebody's catching a forearm.
Yeah, someone's catching a forearm, maybe a flying knee. But, Mike, let's talk a little bit about the venue here. It's amazing. There are so many people here that are pumped up to see this fight alone.
They're here at the Delta Center to see a couple guys that aren't even old enough to get into the club to fight one another, but they've already made their mark in mixed martial arts, and certainly here in the Ultimate Combat Experience. Both these guys are legendary fighters in their own right, and you see right here why. They're both coming out here, and there's no backup in either one of them.
There's not. What you saw right there, Big J landed a pretty big knee to Garrett Barlow, and it just pissed him off, Mike. He just ate it and said, I'm going to come back and land a couple knees of my own.
Well, and then Big J's getting pissed off because that rub-on tan of his is coming off on the cage.
But this is aggressive, Mike. This is what people come to see. This is what people pay, $20 a fight.
Absolutely here. And you can actually see little splotches of brown on Garrett Barlow. That's Big J's fake tan rubbing off on him as well. Nice takedown there. That was a nice takedown.
Man.
And Big J now has Garrett Barlow pinned up against the cage. This is a big move.
Well, they talked a little bit about muscle before, Mike, and about how it didn't have an advantage. But I tell you, it looks like a completely different fight than the first time. It looks like old Big J is really throwing around.
He really is, and boy, he sure has been able to get some better chicks than last time as well because of the extra muscle. And Big J had a good position there. He had Barlow pinned up against the cage, and he had actually knee up, and then somehow Garrett Barlow was able to push him back into his guard and turn himself away from the cage. Nice work.
Well, one thing you can see right there is Garrett Barlow is working his way up the body. He wants to end this thing with the submission. He doesn't want to get punched on by Big J anymore because Big J was landing the bigger shots when they're on their feet, and I think he's landing the bigger shots when they're on the ground right now, Mike.
He sure was, and Barlow was trying to grab onto the cage and pull himself up a little bit. Dave Selye said wipes the hand away. You can't grab the cage. But, right here, Big J has been, I don't know, he's got some of the ugliest punches I've ever seen, but he always lands them. And it seems to me, it looks like Barlow might be a little dazed from that last shot. It was a little bit a right hook there that landed, and a short right hook, and it looks like Barlow might be a little hurt.
I think he is, Mike. He was staggering a little bit. You see the look on his face. He doesn't look too happy, and you can tell that he's taking some shots. I mean, it looks like he's got a little bit of a cut. He's got some bruising going on, but he's still being the aggressor, Mike, and that's what I like to see. That's what you can expect out of these slam-eating guys.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's been some good shots here and there from Big J, but all in all, a pretty competitive match so far. But you mentioned once again, that was another just sheer muscle move, and maybe who win the debate out there? Big J right here. Apparently, the extra muscle, the extra strength that he's gotten from lifting weights does pay off. I find it's kind of ironic though, is one of the Barlows is talking about weightlifting not being an advantage. Have you ever seen Zach Barlow?
The guy looks like 3 of Big J, but Big J, Mike, he just looks more confident, and maybe that's what having that extra muscle will do. Maybe just in his mind he thinks, well, I've got an extra 10 pounds. I'm going to get in here and muscle you around, because he doesn't even look like he's working that.
Well, not to mention he is well versed at the martial arts now, which I don't know how he did that in a span of 6 months, but he does have God on his side, and that's always a big thing here. With 2 seconds left in this round, looks like we're going to see a second round, and Johnny Ritchie, if it's even half as exciting as this first round, we're in for a treat. These guys really got after in that first round. It looks like right there Garrett Barlow's kind of feeling the pains of that first round a little bit.
He is a little bit, Mike, and you can see right here in your Crush Combat Cam, brought to you by American Bush. Go check him out. But Garrett Barlow kind of just got thrown around that first round, Mike.
Did you just steal my line?
Again, I'm trying every chance I get.
Hostile takeover once again. Johnny Ritchie trying to take the show over. Folks, please don't let it happen. Get my back here. Good first round, as we mentioned, Johnny Ritchie. Good back and forth action. Garrett Barlow lands a pretty good knee there, but it was answered by Big J with a big right hand, and that was another pretty nice little takedown.
Right there, pure power, and you can see Garrett is not breathing too hard, where as you can see the damage that has been done on Garrett Barlow. He does have some bruising, and he's bleeding a little bit there, Mike.
Yeah, he sure is, and we talk a lot about the adjustments that can be made in the corner there, and Garrett Barlow has Phil Henderson from the Slam Inc. crew, and obviously Steven Razor Sharp working the corner of Big J there. They got 2 good guys there, and let's see what changes they're going to make here to switch things around here in the round 2.
Well, I'm thinking if you're Phil Henderson, you're saying, I think you'd want to stay away from Big J. You wouldn't want to tie up with him.
I think you want to take him down. Personally, I think you want to take him down because Barlow's best chance of beating this kid is by submission. Best chance of beating him is on the ground. Big J has landed some big shots already on their feet, but right here, you've got to stay away from that cage, and that's what Steve Sharp's so good at. I'm sure this is one of the things he talked to Big J about. Get him pinned up against the cage and use it to your advantage, and I don't think Garrett Barlow is really liking that much.
Because he can't really get any position for submission, Mike. He can't get his hips out. He can't get Big J extended because he's just crowding him and smashing him against the cage. And that makes it hard when you're a submission guy to get a submission when you're in that spot right there.
You're dishing.
Dishing the submission in the position.
A lot of ishins, man.
I sound like Bird Dog.
Something.
Rapping.
But he's landing some big elbows here, Johnny. He's still fighting out of the guard, which it seems he's comfortable there doing that, which is fine if you are. But I don't highly recommend it. But now they're in that ever-famous 69 backward position that we've seen these guys in a couple of times. Big J's able to get past the guard now, and now I think that Garrett Barlow may be in a little bit of trouble.
I think you're right, Mike. You can stay in this position and even step into full mount. It's a good night for Garrett Barlow, but Garrett Barlow still continues to work. He's looking for something, whether I don't know what it is, whether it be an arm bar or a choke or even an ankle lock. It maybe earlier looked like he was going for an ankle.
Well, yeah, he should probably, as you mentioned, maybe try to get out of there. Let's get out. You're halfway out of the hold that you were in. Why not try to get out? It didn't really seem like he had an arm or an ankle to try to pick. But right here, he's in trouble. Big J is famous for landing shots from far away. He's got good power behind his punches, and he's landed several of them here in the last several seconds.
Mike, unofficially, what do you think? Who do you think? I mean, are we thinking the same thing? Are we thinking that this has just been a one-sided fight for old Big J?
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of joked about bringing God into things, but, it kind of seems like he has that. Wow, this fight's over, Johnny. That Garrett Barlow is out cold right there, and you don't like to see a kid take shots like that. He was out, and it seemed like he took 2 or 3 additional shots there before the referee was able to get in and stop that thing. Well, Big J landed some huge elbows right there.
Man, those elbows, the forearms were just ridiculous. But you saw Dr. Kachimani step in there to make sure that Garrett Barlow is okay. Earlier, I saw Mama Barlow's face. She looked a little bit upset, but she always knows her kid's going to come out.
You see Garrett up and walking around, and that's definitely a good sign. But he doesn't look like he's feeling very good. You see in your Crush Combat Cam, brought to you by the American Bush, how this thing kind of winded up. Really a back and forth match in many senses, but it seemed like every time they landed somewhere, Big J landed on top. Every time there was a flurry, Big J landed the last punch. And you can see right here at the end here, there was a flurry on the ground where Big J landed some big elbows on the chin of Garrett Barlow, and that was it, folks.
Yeah. That's the reset button, Mike. Between your earlobes and your nose, you got your chin set there, and it's done if you get hit there.
He is done, and Garrett Barlow's not feeling very good right here, but oh boy.
What a ham. What a ham.
That was funny.
Well, I didn't expect him to be that strong. He's just been hanging out with my brother.
Good fight, bud. I knew that strength, I would be overpowering you this time. You did tell me that my muscles would wear me out, and they kind of did.
Well, I'll definitely come back. You know, I thought technique would conquer over strength, but he just threw me around like a little bitch.
I wouldn't say I trained harder than him. I trained different. I hear he spends a couple hours in the gym. It's like he's trained for a marathon. I like to get in there and hit my 3-minute rounds hard, train for this.
You know, I'll say when I'm beat. I got beat. But, you know, props to him.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Good job, Garrett.
That's going to wrap version 1 of 3 episodes of the Ultimate Combat Experience Finals at the Delta Center. Johnny Ritchie, great show. We saw 1/3 of it. Next week, though, it even takes it up a notch. We're going to visit Border Wars, the city of Utah. We're fighting the guys from up there north there in Idaho. Johnny Ritchie, what do you know about these cats?
I know a lot about these guys. Managed by Tom Sumner, a bunch of roughneck guys coming up from Idaho to be Utah's best. Utah's got something to say about it, though. Our main event, Mike, speaks for itself.
Team Las Vegas found out that just wasn't all that easy. Primal Tribe Fighting Club, though, is well recognized across the country as a top-notch group. But Birdsley, James Birdsley, the Bird Dog, is going to be in your main event next week against whom?
Larry Garrison. This guy is a wrestler. He comes from a wrestling background. He's a little bit older, but he says, I've got what it takes to beat anybody from Utah. Salt Lake City, the best, no honor. Potato spuds all the way.
Well, let me tell you right now, the Birdsley sweepstakes finishes right here. He won. He fought every week this round and beat everybody. Now he's taking it across the borders. Your main event next week, you definitely don't want to miss it. The Ultimate Combat Experience.